Blackstone and Skyboat Media present Look Homeward, Angel, a story of the buried life by Thomas Wolfe. This book is read by Stefan Rudnicki, featuring an introduction written and read by Stefan Rudnicki. Narrator's Introduction. At the age of 16, I was already a confirmed bibliophile, augmenting my high school reading assignments with whatever struck my fancy at either school or public library in pretty much all genres available to me, from fantasy and sci-fi to historical and literary fiction. Earlier that year, I had read Wolfe's posthumously published works, The Web and the Rock, and The Hills Beyond, which led me to dive psyche first into Look Homeward, Angel. It made a huge impression on me, to the degree that without having looked at the book in the intervening years, I still remember today certain phrases and moments from that first reading. I'm sure that Eugene Gant, being himself 16 years old at the pivotal and powerful center of the story as he leaves home for university, had something to do with that. My appreciation of Wolfe's gifts developed further as I discovered that a college classmate of mine was his editor's daughter, and I listened to her recount literary anecdotes her dad had shared. Of course, my appreciation of the book and the writer today is very different than it was all those years ago. Voicing the writing will certainly do that, but then there's all that additional weight of intervening social history. Look Homeward, Angel was, when written, and when first I read it, and perhaps today even more so, a story placed very specifically and intentionally at a particular historical place and time, a more or less vaguely defined rural American South in the years during and immediately surrounding World War I. Not so dissimilar to Mark Twain's Huckleberry Finn, which I had first read about a year earlier. Thomas Wolfe's opus is inhabited by a population of white and black characters, with the latter group consistently referred to in the white language of its time, in terms today, and maybe even then, considered demeaning and racist. With material that is in the public domain, there is often the temptation to edit, to rewrite, to change and soften offensive language. Even I've done that once or twice in books where such language was random and occasional. But not here.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?